Hey, what's going on, guys? This is my 5-month update video on studying Japanese. Um, it's a little overdue by a week, but I'm pretty excited to talk to you guys about what I've been working on for the last month. I've been trying something new and I've been seeing a lot of great results with it. So let's get into talking about that. So basically, most of my learning is done through Link, reading and listening, and every day I read some kind of new piece of material, whether it's something on Link or like a podcast transcript or a video transcript that I find. There's a lot of material out there for you to go through. So it's really up to you what you want to read. But so every day I at least read one new thing and create my links, and I've been doing that for a while now. But when it came to reviewing things on Link, I was kind of just reading stories at random. I would see something, I'm like, oh, hey, I haven't read that in a while. Let me take a look at it again, or let me go through that story again. But to me, that started seeming like really inefficient, and I didn't like the randomness of that, of me just kind of like picking random stories at random. So I was like, what can I do about this, to kind of organize this madness? Because at that point, it's like I've already read so many different things. It's like I'm starting to forget things that I've read. I was like, oh, I don't even remember reading this. But so I wanted to organize this to make reviewing things, obviously more efficient, easier, and just straight up organizing it in general. So what did I do to fix that? So basically, I started taking the material that I read and I incorporated it into its own Anki deck. So I was like, oh yeah, how about I just use the SRS algorithm on Anki to just, control the flow of my reviewing, because trying to mentally organize that or use some other kind of means can be kind of frustrating. So having Anki, it just was like, oh yeah, the review app. How about I just use it to help me with my reviews? So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So basically, when I read a new piece of material every day, I go into a web browser and copy the URL from Link, and I put it into an Anki deck, and then I feed it into it, and then I just review it as it comes up. So it'll come up with the URL for Link. I click on it, and it takes me to the app, and I reread the story and go through it and listen to it, and yeah, that's basically how I've been studying for the last month. And my results are a lot better than the previous months where I was just reading at random and just kind of, just doing whatever essentially. And the number of words I've picked up has gone up. So normally I was getting like 250 to 300 words a month, and this past month I got like 450, and so I went from like 1200 to like almost 1700, somewhere around that. So it's hard to keep track. But yeah, my word count went flying up because of I'm reviewing whole pieces of material in context. And I really like doing this. I wasn't really a big fan of doing sentence cards and whatnot. I looked into that. It's not really something that I can really do just based off of my work schedule and everything like that. It'd be kind of hard for me to do something along those lines. So I had to kind of think of another way to kind of, review things that I've learned. And also, the idea of sentence cards to me seem really boring and tedious. It's not something I'm really interested in. But so this is like the next best thing to me, is just SRSing stories that I've read. And yeah, it's been great. I highly recommend it. Just maybe give it a try for a month, and see how it goes for you. And you don't have to use LingQ to do this. You can, you know, copy and paste whatever you're reading and just put it into Anki and read it that way and review that way. I'm sure there's different ways to make cards for that, but you know, but personally I learn on LingQ, so that's, you know, how I choose to do it. But you know, that can be applied to other means. You know, if you're not a fan of LingQ, you can still, you know, put in whatever you're reading into that or something. So yeah, it's just the methodology really. So I wanted to talk about that. Highly recommend it. I'm more than halfway through remembering the kanji, and I should be done with that at the end of the month, and I guess that's what my next video will be about. So that's been pretty fun to go through, and with going through that and doing my reading practice and listening practice, I'm starting to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel with the purpose of remembering the kanji. And whether you're doing standard remembering the kanji or recognition remembering the kanji like I am, the the light at the end of the tunnel becomes clear when you've already been reading, because some of the characters that you're a lot more familiar with, you start to see them, and in your mind they stop becoming it's the English meaning and they start becoming the Japanese meaning, and then you start seeing the Japanese word. So it's like I get the big picture now of remembering the kanji, and that's why it's motivating to get through all the characters, even though some days it can be pretty tough to go through those characters. But that's a big motivating factor, is seeing the, maybe on a smaller scale, the fruits of your labor, essentially, because it's like I get it now. I see what the purpose is, and it does work, whether you're doing, you know, standard remembering the kanji where you're writing it, or you're doing like a recognition thing like I am. So I'm almost done with that, and you're probably thinking, well, if you're going through remembering the kanji, you know, how are you reading? So two things, whether you're on LingQ or you're reading Japanese through some other means, you know, LingQ, you can have romanji above the characters, you can have furigana, and then if you're reading something else outside of LingQ or any other material, it usually comes with furigana. And I highly recommend starting to read, even if you haven't even started remembering the kanji. I forgot which YouTuber talked about it, but reading efficiency is a skill in its own, and it's different than reading comprehension, and it's something worthwhile working on, because it's just like, can you imagine sitting there for 3 months remembering the kanji, and you don't know how to read yet? Like, you learn hiragana, but it's like you crammed all this knowledge into your mind, and you haven't even like put it into practice yet. And I don't know. And that seems to me kind of like, you know, shooting yourself in the foot a little bit before you even really get going. So, you know, if you're doing remembering the kanji, maybe don't read as much, but still read some, because you gotta improve your reading efficiency, because it's like, if you read for comprehension, you understand everything on the page or whatever, like, that's great if you understand everything, but if it takes you 30 minutes to read a paragraph, what good is that going to do you? So reading efficiency is definitely something that you can be working on at the same time while going through remembering the kanji. So it's working for me, and I highly recommend it. And another thing too, what's great about LingQ is, since everything that I read also comes with audio equivalent, you know, I'm usually only reading things that there's also audio for. And what's great with link is once you're done reading something, the audio from that gets saved to a playlist, and that's where I'm doing a lot of my immersion, is through things that I've already read. And that's definitely awesome because if on a technical level, if you're immersing with things that you've already read, you should have an easier time listening to that kind of stuff. And it might be like a better way for people who are still trying to like get their toes in their immersion, or dip their toes into immersion. And you know, instead of just listening to Japanese out in the wild all the time, kind of spending some time with material that you're familiar with and trying to listen to it is definitely beneficial, because theoretically you should know what's being said for the most part because you've already read through it and you've already listened to it maybe slowly while you're reading it. And you know, there's benefits to maybe listening to stuff that you read. So I spent a lot of time immersing with you know, that playlist of things that I read. And after a month or so, you know, that playlist can get pretty big, so you have like a big selection of things to listen to. Yeah, and so to go back to the SRS thing before I get off of this, again, all it is taking the URL for something in Link and putting it into an Aki deck and letting that sort out your reviews. Now, for me, I already have a couple of things that are like on a two month time span or whatever for the next time I'm going to review. If I read through something and there's still like a bunch of words in there that I haven't quite got down yet, you know, and then I go back to the card and it's like, oh, you're not going to see this for 2 months, I might fail that card and reset the story. You know, it's just something to think about. You know, because you're not sitting there normally grading the cards or anything like that. You're just letting it kind of flow naturally. But if a story gets to the point where you're not going to see it for like a couple of months and you still already have like a bunch of words that you don't know in there yet, maybe just reset the card and, you know, review it again. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. The next video I'm gonna make is probably gonna be when I'm done remembering the kanji, and we'll talk about that some more and see how much further along I've been with this new thing I've been trying out. And if you guys have any questions or suggestions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll answer or get back to you. Alright, see you guys later.